Popular writers proclaim that if we are to be in tune with our hunter-gatherer selves, we will be healthier, have less violence, conserve resources, and maintain biodiversity.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Have a better sex and marriage.
So Miss KCL was discussing politics with people on a what was it? A article in Newsweek.
Don't say who the article, the thing, because then I'm easily identifiable. Thank you.
Well, um, you didn't have your name in there.
Yeah, but it will lead to that.
Okay, well, then
Whatever.
We'll call it an article from.
Too late now. You're already throwing it out there.
We'll call it an article from the Sports Illustrated, but it's a political deal, and what were they? What were they calling you? The
Felicia. I got called Felicia, Snowflake. Can't remember what else.
So they just start calling you names because of. Did they back up what they said, or did they just start calling you names?
No, they just don't like. They just didn't care for my views, and so instead of telling me why they support something opposite of what I think, they prefer to call me names. And one idiot had nerve enough to say, you already have Newsweek out there. One idiot had nerve enough to say, well, we would be saying more stuff about you if Newsweek wasn't protecting you. And I said, well, what am I being protected from? I said, words? And I got no response. So what I was telling my husband is that I don't think there's enough open dialogue respectfully about politics. And initially, I thought it might be nice to discuss why people chose particular parties, but I actually don't think that's a good thing to talk about because I would say a lot of the people I know lean both ways. And I kind of think there was no such thing as an independent, a Democrat, or a Republican. But instead, I wish people would talk about the issues. Now, if you want to talk about someone that you believe can solve those issues, that's fine, because I don't think anyone should be married to a political party because there are issues that need to be resolved. And ultimately, people end up voting on someone who they think can solve either the most important issue to them or several issues that are important to them. But I just thought it might be nice to have a dialogue about what matters to us. If we were to, like I said, you don't have to put people in it. But if you were to vote today, and let's say they gave you an option of picking three things that you felt um, were necessary for our country to succeed, what would those three things be?
I'll see if we have any answers to that.
I'll say what I think.
Angela Critter says she votes for the person.
She doesn't vote the issues?
Well, that the person probably has the issues that she most agrees with.
So let me ask this question, and I believe me, by no means trying to be derogatory or judgmental or anything like that. I'm thinking about what people were saying to me um, when they were responding to my comment. But do you, when you're evaluating a person, do you care about their past? Or are you more concerned with their actions that have uh, basically led to success? Let's get going. We gotta.
Well, I've got to look and see what people are saying. Angela says healthcare, racial equality, fair pay for a fair day's work. The person states their issues they represent. Um, I personally think that they should eliminate the Republican and Democratic parties altogether. One's going against the other one's going against the other. Can you imagine having a person on there that's from the Democrat Party on the ballot, a guy from the Democrat Party, a guy from the Republican Party, and then a third choice is none of the above? Can you imagine if that was on the ballot, that none of the above would win?
I don't think that would happen because I think people have to identify an individual.
Well, I think people are tired of just 95-year-old people running for political office. I mean, the guy that we have in there now, and I would respect him as Mr. President, but he's falling upstairs. He's falling over sandbags. You can't understand a daggone word he says most of the time. And he is a laughing stock to all of the world.
And that's not true. A lot of people are not laughing at him.
What
That's
are they?
just your opinion.
Well, yes, that's my opinion, and that's what everybody should have is their opinion,
Right,
and
but
if somebody else don't.
you're making generalizations when you said everyone.
Well,
You can't do that.
Okay, I understand, but if everybody should have their own opinion, but if you don't agree with mine, I'm not going to beat you in the head and call you Felicia, or say bye Felicia, or tell you.
That was so funny. That was so funny, especially because I didn't even know. I've heard of Karen because my husband had nerve enough to call me Karen in Target yesterday. But I never heard of Felicia, ever.
Well,
so
let me.
I had to actually look it up to see what that meant.
Well, last night in Target, there was a big, long line for one open.
Yeah, and they didn't even have the self checkout open.
Yeah, they didn't have the self checkout open. So Karen goes up to customer service to speak to the manager and says that they need to get some new or some more cashiers out there. And when I got back to the line, she got back into the line. And I said, and everybody was standing there. And I said, all right.
Me.
And I said, don't worry, Karen took care of it.
I thought that was just silly.
Well, I thought it was funny to me, but
and then
but you got it
that,
done though.
Well,
that
because
was,
they had that. Well, one I'm pretty sure they cross train everybody. Everybody knows how to operate a register, and when you have someone in customer service doing nothing, that person needs to get their ass behind the register and help the customers. So I was not very happy that they weren't monitoring the checkout. I mean, the line was long. I mean, there were probably 20 people in the line.
Oh yeah, there was,
easily. And one register. That was just ridiculous.
And well, they closed down the self registers because they were getting the money out of it, which they could have done after they closed.
But anyway, that's another topic. I just didn't know what Felicia meant. So it's funny. My husband has it when we have our disagreements. He has told me before he doesn't understand how I can disassociate myself from things, how I'm willing to just let things go. And I don't know how I do it either. But I think it's that trait, whether good or bad, that I have, where I don't care what people say about me. Well, I just really don't care.
And that goes back to the racism thing. You're used to that shit, and I don't like it, and I don't tolerate it. And
let's not go off on a tangent. I don't want to talk about racism. I want to talk about our country.
Well, these are like white people telling people that something about racism. Like, what in the world would privileged white people know about racism.
But they can experience white women experience sexism,
Well, exactly.
or white people who are disabled experience. I don't know what kind of what's that's called. So it's not like people don't have a sense of a negative bias being thrown upon them. It's just that racism is something that's unique to minorities, and it's not unique just to black people. I think it's unique to anybody who's perceived to be a minority. I mean, you could be a white person and you look Cuban, and you know, dark skin, thick hair, or whatever, and you can experience racism because people are going to judge you by what you look like. So
Well, yeah, well,
technically, white people can experience racism.
well, whenever we go to different parts of the country, people will walk up to Miss KCL and speak Spanish to her because they think that she is Puerto Rican or something.
Let's get back to the politics. Has anybody else commented on? So was healthcare was one. Equal wages, I think someone said.
Racial equality.
Okay.
Fair pay for a fair day's work. Health care.
I don't think racial equality will ever happen. That's just my personal opinion.
I mean, I don't either.
People have to always find a way to show that they're better than somebody else. But I think it's admirable to want that, though. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. I would really like to be wrong about that. So one of the things I have become passionate about is immigration. So I think that our country has a difficult time supporting its own citizens. And when I say supporting, I'm not talking about welfare benefits that they give out. I'm talking about the primary thing with supporting its citizens is providing a good education or being able to provide safe neighborhoods. So I think, and I feel so sorry for Texas. I actually thought it was funny when Texas was transporting illegal immigrants to New York or to Washington, D.C. And I'm not saying funny from the standpoint of what harm it might have caused the illegal immigrants, because I would never want them to be harmed. But I think the rest of the country truly did not understand the financial toll that illegal immigrants were putting on the economics in Texas. Or like this article that was out recently where the Justice Department has decided they want to they're going to tear down the barbed wire fence that Texas put up. Why? I understand that our country is a melting pot. I understand that we have people from all over the world who are immigrants to our country, and they're coming here in hopes of a better life. Those who are, seeking political asylum, or those where the gangs have just totally taken over their countries and they just want what's best for their families. I get that. But what I don't like is when it's done illegally. There will be people who'll say, well, we need the illegal immigrants because they'll perform the jobs that many Americans don't want to do. I don't know if that's necessarily true. But what about the legal immigrants who are willing to perform the work that maybe Americans are not willing to do? Does anybody else have, you don't have to agree with me, but does anyone else have an opinion? One way or another? I need you to read it. That's your job.
Well, here.
You read it.
The comment thing's right there. I'm going to go in there for just a second.
Okay, wait. I don't have my glasses on. Enter our country legally and we will welcome you. Thank you, Angela. thank you. And this says, oh, Pebbles, Laura. I I hate to say this, Pebbles, but I do not have my glasses on. But it looks like Laura Hart something Hart.
Yeah, she's saying hi to Lady Scrapper.
Oh, okay. So she's talking to somebody else. Okay. And then we see, oh, Lady Scrapper. Great topic tonight. I think the border wall should be impenetrable. Yes. Yes. So, with that being said, because I don't see anyone who says that we need to, white people see racism and cannot be avoided. I agree with that. Amen. LOL. I got called Felicia by DD in 2018. I had to Google it. So, I'm not the only one who didn't know what that meant. Always to respect our president. I don't laugh at him, not true. Economy, equal rights. Okay, so going back to the immigration issue, how so we I think we pretty much all agree that being a legal immigrant is we welcome with open arms. So if there were a crackdown on illegal immigrants, how much do people feel the United States should invest financially to make the areas where the immigrants are coming from safer? So let's say you've got from some part of South America where they've come all the way here because the gangs have totally taken everything off. People don't have decent jobs, and we don't let them in, and they have to go back to wherever it is they came from, or maybe settle somewhere else outside of the United States. Do we as a country have an obligation for those people who are not citizens of the United States? Oh, hi, Mrs. Fake KCL. That's funny. I can't read all of this. Should I be going up or going down? Here, you do it. So has anyone answered if they think we have an obligation to support people of other countries?
Angela says the illegal immigrants send $1 billion a year of untaxed money to Mexico.
Wow. Wow. I did not know that. I mean, you see in the movies how people who are here or immigrants, I don't know whether they're illegal or illegal or legal, but make their money here and send it back to their families wherever they might be.
Yeah, well, and they're giving them free health care and somewhere to live and extra money a month to be illegal immigrants in our country. And uh, while they're doing that, they have homeless veterans that are
Exactly. We're not
around, and
taking
they.
care of our own.
Why can't we take care of our own people before we take care of one that is coming across
That's
illegally?
not right to say that,
Well,
because there are illegal immigrants of other races.
I understand.
And you're stereotyping.
I don't know, but we were talking about Mexico.
We're talking about coming across the border.
And
technically, not necessarily Mexico. What about the people in South America?
Well, they're talking about making a border wall up in Canada, also in parts of Canada. But I do love the supper that you made tonight.
No, that's not it. There's some chicken and rice in there. I don't know why you're eating brownies and Oreo cookies, people. That's dumb. Well, anyway, so is there anyone who feels like we have an obligation to support citizens of other countries? And I'm going to walk you into that, depending upon what people say. I'm headed somewhere with that.
Lady Scrapper says yum, by the way.
She's
and I'm drinking milk, and it does the body good. So
So nobody's commenting on whether they believe we have an obligation to support people in other countries.
Mm. As long as the money was taxed by the U.S., send it to anyone you want, in my humble opinion.
So they would repay it, or we make a profit off of it.
No, they're saying if you make money here, they should tax you like everybody else instead of just sending money without being taxed to their people back home.
Okay, so what I want to walk you into is, what about the war in Ukraine and Russia, and the amount of money that we have given to Ukraine at the expense of dollars that could perhaps be redirected to our own citizens. How do people feel about that? Like I said, it's right or wrong, or well, I guess there is no right or wrong. It's just, what do you feel about it, and you're not going to be judged because of how you feel about it, because it's your opinion, and I like to respect people's opinions. Nobody has an opinion.
We said we don't have an obligation.
So why do we do it? Is it a strategic? Is it strategy on the part of the United States to assist Ukraine so Russia doesn't become a more dominant force in the world? Is that why we help Ukraine?
Well, let's ask everybody: should we be giving free money to Ukraine? Just a yes or no. Should the United States be giving money to Ukraine?
To help in the war with Russia. Nobody has an opinion.
Angela says Ukraine needs our help. I am glad we helped them. They are minding their own business.
To what extent do we help them financially? And this is just my question. So to what extent do we help them? And if we're going to help them, why not actively participate in the war? I actually don't know what the repercussions of that would be.
Well, we get involved, and then
China gets involved.
yeah, and then China
And
invades Taiwan, and then Rocket Man in North Korea thinks he can blow one of his little firecrackers up, and
so we're donating basically all of this money like a chess piece. We're doing this so this doesn't happen. It's not that we care about Ukraine. We just want to make sure Russia doesn't become more powerful, with China being involved and then North Korea butting in.
But how many wars, conflicts, anything else did they have in the last administration?
None. But we aren't talking about politics. We're talking about now. And I think the direction you were going, you wanted to talk about how wonderful the past president was. But I think instead of going back, we need to go forward. And I think dialogue in regards to the issues that are facing our country, I think it's good, especially considering that there is an election coming up, and it's the issues, my personal opinion, that count. But sometimes it's the issues and that person that counts. I just
well,
like talking about it.
Angela says, I do not want American lives lost in Ukraine. Losing money is just money. No more Vietnam or Afghanistan.
So, Angela, when do we say enough is enough? Or do we just continue to provide an unlimited supply of financial support? I'm just asking. I'm not being critical. I don't know. I just think it goes back to um, these are just questions or thoughts that I've had on um, protecting our own citizens, I guess. Like the immigration issue is a big deal for me. The amount of support that we're giving outside of our country is not as big of a deal, but it's of interest to me.
Well, if it was me giving another country a blank check or whatever, or would you not try to turn that into like a loan or some kind of
But I don't know if we can. And I get the fact that we support Ukraine because it's Russia and because of Russia's ties with China and the situation with China and Taiwan and then Mr. North Korea. But I just wonder, when does it end, or does it ever end? And then I think about, and this is getting away from protecting our citizens, but then I think about all the Chinese made stuff we have in our country, but yet we, excuse my language when I say that, we seem to be kissing China's ass. It's just my opinion, which probably is stupid, but it's my opinion. I just don't.
opinions are never stupid.
No, I mean, it would be nice if I could like throw up some statistics or something that supported uh, my opinion. I go back to and I have thought about this constantly. When we were in Hobby Lobby that time, everything we picked off the shelf was made in China. Everything. And I don't think that bothered me until I was actually involved in it. And I know we can't be isolationists as a country. I know that can't happen.
Well, Vigilance says, oh, well, Lady Scrapper says, I feel like the more we help, the more they will expect.
Yes.
Which is very true, because I don't know how many times Zelensky's been over. We need more money. We need more
Yep.
money. We need more money. We need more money. So we send him another blank check. And
He'll be back again.
So what is that doing to the United States? Well, uh, inflation. You can't just keep writing blank checks and expect everything to go just fine, because I don't know what the deficit is now, but if it wasn't for T bills in China, uh, we would really be in a pickle, because how much money does the United States owe China?
Yeah.
A buttload.
Yeah, that's scary.
How much money is one saved life worth? Can be true. Moral dilemma. Uh, we need to try to make it financially feasible to bring manufacturing home.
I agree. I like that because it benefits our citizens.
Well, yeah, you didn't want to talk about the last administration, but there was several huge companies that said we're going to move our operation to Mexico, and uh,
He said we're going to tax the shit out of you.
yeah, he made it damn near impossible for them to do so. So what they did was they expanded their operations in the United States, which should have been done in the first place.
So who made the comment about morality? Because that's I never thought of that. So my question would be, and this is going to sound so cold, and I apologize. Are we concerned with morality, or are we concerned about money as it relates to our country? Morality doesn't run the economy. Money does.
Yeah.
And or is there a way to balance the two? Hey, don't get me wrong. When I see you guys ever see those ads where they're showing the poor little kids in Africa that don't have food, or they have the extended bellies, or they're you watch a documentary on human trafficking, and you see these little girls who are like 7 or 8.
Yeah, and they have to play the sad music to go along with it
Well,
too.
but the situation, regardless of the music, it's sad and it's disheartening. But if I were to try to give my paycheck to all those people, I never would have anything. So where does morality fit in with trying to be economically stable? I guess maybe that's the question I'm asking. What is Felicia again? What is Felicia? Do we have to be Felicia's in order to survive?
Yeah, bye, Felicia.
Do we have to be cold hearted? Do we have to? I hate to put it this way, but where I work, there are some people who are dumber than shit but think they know everything. And I try my best not to say anything, and I help whoever wants to be helped. But sometimes it gets to a point where you want to say, "Fuck off." What?
Yeah, but Vigilant said Sam Kinison got it right, and I know exactly what he's talking about.
The comedian that screams and yells.
Yes, he said that they had little kids that living in the desert. Well, the reason why you don't have food is because food don't grow in the desert. Oh, ow! Yeah, the
That guy was nuts.
that guy was funny as shit.
He was funny.
Uh,
So what is it? Morality or economics? Morality or money?
well, Angela says, "Bye, Felicia" is a slang way of dismissing someone, sometimes formatted as "Bye, Felicia," and based on movie character whose name was spelled Felicia. Bye, Felicia.
So is it better to be a Felicia or to be a well, I guess Felicia isn't really describing me. Well,
Yeah,
it is
Felicia. They're telling you get bye, Felicia.
that I'm
Like
an
get on
idiot.
out.
Goodbye.
Yeah, Karen is more like Kate Goslin, who was one of them
I
women that
know.
always says, "I want to speak to the manager. I'm calling corporate."
Okay. So is it money or morality?
Right. Well, what? We'll see here. Karens make me puke. Um,
That's why I was so mad when my husband, I mean, in front of everybody. So, of course, everybody's in line and it's quiet. And then he's going to call me Karen where everybody can hear it.
well,
He is
but
so lucky I didn't go off.
but
I think I did
everybody,
maybe a little bit.
yeah, you did, but it was playful. But um, everybody in that line was appreciative of you doing that though, because
The only
they
black
wanted.
person in the store. The only black person in
Wait
the
a minute,
store.
I'm black too.
All right. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that. Money and morality. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna say my opinion, and uh, I'm gonna say money. I can't help everybody. I have to be concerned with me and mine. So my first concern is my family, and money provides housing, provides food, can help with education, and after that becomes my community, and after that I think it becomes the citizens of the United States with money. I don't mind paying my taxes for hardworking Americans who are trying to have a better way of life. I do have a hard time with my money going to illegal immigrants. And I'm going to say this, and I know it's going to be unpopular, but this transgender sex change stuff, I do not want my money going towards that.
And that's a whole different.
It is.
That's
but,
like a 5-gallon bucket of worms.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I think money matters more than morality. And we could do a whole nother discussion on morality. Because people say, oh, money's the root of all evil. Well, morality doesn't exist like it used to either.
Vigilance says money, and Angela says it should be morality, but money rules the world.
Yep.
And Vigilance says, not sure what you mean. Could you compare Karen to one of the characters here in this section of the YouTubes? Yes, you can.
I don't understand.
In our little section of the tubes of you, there's a few Karens in there that is what he's talking about.
Oh.
Okay, Vigilance winking at me. That's so.
So can we talk about another thing?
Well,
I think
I'm so sick of that BS gender shit being forced on the world.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and you go to schools now and they're teaching that if you that like a 7-year-old can say, well, I want to be a girl now.
Well, but now what's happening is and I can't remember what state it was. Maybe someone else knows, where their child went to the school about transitioning, and the school was helping them transition and didn't tell the parents because apparently the parents didn't have a right to know. What the heck is that? What is that? I can't be involved in the care of my child? That was bullshit. Excuse my language.
Well,
I don't have an issue with a lot of states wanting to implement. You've got to be 18 before you can make that decision. If people want to do that when they're 18, go for it.
Yeah, knock yourself out, but you pay for it.
Right, and there's another state, like maybe somebody else. You know what? I hate when I read these articles and I can never remember what state it's involved in. But there's one state that's trying to knock down a law that says that transgender women cannot compete in women's sports. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, that swimming swimming he that competed with the women and
how do we start talking about this?
Well, you started it by saying that there's little kids that get their wieners chopped off at 7.
My money. Okay, it was about my money.
Yeah, and but this guy was competing in men's things, and it was like
he sucked at it as a man.
Rated like 4,000 out of 4,022, and then he says, I'm a woman now. So then he competes with the girls, and then he goes into the locker room and he changes, and he's got a wiener, and all these female swimmers,
and he's winning.
Yeah, and all these female swimmers see his wiener in the locker room, and then they have to compete against each other.
Or I read an article about a school field trip where this kid, and I think she was probably in the 5th grade, 4th grade, was going on a school field trip, and how the kids have to bunk up with someone. Her mother found out before they left that her daughter was going to be bunking up with a girl who used to be a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother was furious, and I would be too, because that type of arrangement was allowed. I wouldn't let my child do that.
Yeah, but you probably wouldn't get to say so. They just do it anyway.
Yeah, but look what's happened in the prisons. They're letting, transgender women stay in women prisons, and they're impregnating the biological. Wait, what do they call them? The cis women? Is that?
Yeah, but how do what do you mean? Like they're banging the chicks in
Yeah,
there?
and they're getting pregnant.
But I thought they were girls.
They haven't. Their body parts aren't fully
Yeah, yeah,
transitioned.
yeah, I know.
That's just like Caitlyn Jenner.
Does Bruce? I'm not even calling that thing Caitlyn. Does Bruce Jenner still have his wiener?
I don't know. I don't care. I just think that if you were born female, you should remain a female. If you were born a male, you should remain a male. And if you do, for whatever reasons, decide to change, you should not be able to compete against a sex where that you weren't born into.
Angela says. Um, Wait a minute, I gotta go up. Parents are claiming 3-year-olds are sure they were born the wrong sex.
That is
Say what?
such crap.
Yeah, and that goes back to does God make mistakes? Um, yeah, sometimes little kids are born with
Two body parts.
yeah,
Yep.
a JJ and a wee wee. But and that would be a true transgender. That would
That would
be
be a legitimate a legitimate reason to pick one or the other.
yeah,
And I agree with that.
yeah. But if you are born with an Audi, um, you should stay that way for the remainder of your life because God made you that way. Now, if you um, get to be 7 years old and you happen to play with a doll or something, and your parents who didn't take their pill, or well, I'm not strike that from the record. Um, they see their boy playing with a doll, and then they all of a sudden decide to start putting a dress on little Johnny and calling her Jenny, and then the brains don't develop until fully develop until you're what 20 on
Well,
most people.
for men, the brain doesn't fully develop until like 35. For
Well,
women, it's probably 19.
now let's be realistic
I am
here.
being realistic.
Is my brain formally functioned yet? I mean, is
No,
it
you're right.
okay?
Yeah, you're right. But in that regards, when I grew up, I'm the oldest of three. I'm the only female. And when I grew up, I didn't like dolls. I like trucks. I like comic books. I like basketball, baseball, footballs. I didn't like those little, what were those things when I was younger? Easy bake ovens. I didn't want any of that stuff. I was just not a girly girl. But I never wanted to be a boy. It was just what I liked. And those were activities that I did with my father. I just cannot imagine if I had different parents who took that type of behavior to mean that I needed to be a boy. Not that I wanted to be a boy, that I needed to be a boy. That's almost sick to me. That's just my opinion.
Well, I almost said your age, but at your age, I don't I don't think that I have seen any characteristics whatsoever of you acting like a
Boy.
dude. Yeah.
Well, I don't wear makeup.
Well,
Ladies,
you don't have to
I
because you're pretty.
just got this thing about makeup. I will wear it like at work if there's some big meeting or something going on. I will wear it, but any other time you won't see me with any makeup on, and it's a good day if I comb my hair.
Well, I will say, whenever we went to New York, and
You have to dress up.
yeah, you had all kinds of pretty makeup on, and you was beautiful before you done that.
Oh gosh, here we go. Can we stick to the topic?
Well, I'm just saying, whenever using court all day, uh,
Okay.
you
Okay.
you look like $5 million instead of $1 million.
Ooh. Anyway,
You let's use a hey baby.
so does anybody else have any discussion on that? Should we end it with what we're talking about now? Should we go on to maybe a different topic? Do we want to maybe pick another day? Because I think I promised that once before and I never did.
Well,
That would be because my husband probably pissed me off about something.
I can imagine that. He's usually well behaved, especially
no,
in Kmart checkout lines.
You mean Target?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Why do I keep saying Kmart?
I have no idea. What do
Where
you
did we
guys
see?
think?
Where did we see that Kmart at?
Kmart is where they're tearing everything down.
No, but
That's what you're thinking about.
we were driving somewhere and we saw a Kmart.
I haven't seen a Kmart in a long time, so that must have been your other girlfriend.
No, that was in Key West. There was a Kmart down there.
I don't remember.
You don't remember going?
No.
Well, I do.
It wasn't important to me, so I don't remember.
Well, I'm gonna think about. I think I have a picture of it. I'll show it to you.
So what did everybody say?
Angela says, wait, I have to go back. I went to school with a
Hermaphrodite?
Yeah. She was allowed to dress out for gym alone.
Out of respect for her.
My friend at surgery at night. Oh, my surgery at 19 to become a full woman, and this was in the 70s. Scott, of course, has no comment because I don't know. And Angela says I was a tomboy too. I miss KCL, but all girl, no dolls for me.
Yep.
Angela was asking Phil if say, Phil, you didn't have an easy bake oven or you don't wear makeup, and Vigilance says both.
So I'm not the only one who remembers those easy bake ovens.
Well, Phil says that he doesn't wear makeup. And he says his first job was at a Kmart. And we have a fake analyzer in here, too.
You guys are funny. At least tonight you guys are funny.
Hello, Evelyn. Oh, and Wheatie, is Wheatie still in here? She might be asleep because she said that she was going to listen, but but I have to say, hi, Wheatie, just for her. All right, so Vigilance says. So, everybody saying hello to Evelyn. Phil, I worked at Kmart one summer. I ran the fastest register in North Carolina.
I used to love their little kid clothing.
Now Kmart was awesome, and they had the Super Kmart over in.
I don't remember that. I've never been to a Super Kmart.
No, what was it? It was over by Bannister Mall or somewhere. Hypermart.
That sounds vaguely familiar, but
yeah. Well, this was in the probably late 80s, and me and Brenda went to his aunt's house to spend the night, and the next day we were going to the Chiefs game, and because she had the season tickets then, and every year she would let us go to one or two games. And the next day it was supposed to be raining.
So she said, "You can go."
Well, yeah. She probably knew it was going to be raining, so she thought, "Hey, this would be a good time for Andy and Brian to go to the game." Well, it was supposed to rain the next day, and there was a brand spanking new great big hypermart that just opened, and she says, "Go down to a hypermart and get you some ponchos." Uh, so we went down there and walked through the door and looked around, and all these black people was looking at us like, what are these white people doing in our hypermart?
It's almost like the Walmart around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, they had the carton arts guy. He did a that's not where the carts go, sir. In the Walmart of our uh, ghetto Walmart, and I had to comment to his video saying, "You are a very brave man for doing that in that particular Walmart."
Okay, so what are we gonna do for other items we want to talk about that are important to us?
All right, let's see what's important. Uh,
Do we want to do that tonight? Keep talking, or do we want to maybe discuss something next time? Because I can talk on, well, maybe not all night.
Evelyn says her first job was in an Eckerd's drugstore. I remember Eckerd's. Was that did that go to
CVS?
no something other right? I don't remember.
You sure that wasn't CVS? It didn't turn into CVS?
No, there was a drugstore that I had a shitload of stock in, and then they merged or was bought out by somebody, and I made a shitload of money. Was it something other right drug shit?
Well, what happened to them? Because it's saying it was the second largest pharmacy chain in the United States.
Mm-hmm. And what happened? What happened? Did they?
It was Rite Aid.
Yeah, Rite Aid. There you go. Yeah, and Rite Aid. Tell me what happened to Rite Aid.
Wait. Acquisition by Rite Aid. Blah 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 blah. I don't know what happened to Rite Aid. Yep, CVS bought it.
Yep. That's what I
told you.
Well, I knew it was either one or the other, but whenever that happened, their stock price went like double or some shit.
It says the total buyout cost of CVS was $2.15 billion.
Mm-hmm. And
made them the largest drugstore chain. Wow.
I had stock in that company way back when, and that one made me a little bit of money. And just like whenever Kmart went belly up, bankrupt, and then Sears bought them, or maybe that was before, but I made a buttload of money on Kmart stock too.
Ooh. Oh well, I'm starting to get sleepy.
Me too.
If we're not gonna talk.
Well, we can figure out a topic for next time.
I want to talk about education.
All right, education is next time.
Only if everybody else wants to talk about it. Does someone have something else they prefer to talk about?
Yes, Angela wants to say Eckerd's had the greatest lunch counter food in the world. Our Eckerd's here became CVS. That's what Angela said.
Yep.
Eckerd's got bought out by CVS, Scott says. Rite Aid, yes. That's what I was trying to think of, Rite Aid.
Well, it looks like JCPenney and Eckerd's merged, and then Penny spun that portion of the business out to become CVS. And then Penny sold CVS.
Well, JCPenney, whenever they remember that whenever I bought all that stock for like 2 cents at J.C. Penney a couple years ago, and then it went way up whenever it was.
I don't remember that.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Okay, then you don't.
So, are we going to talk about education, or did somebody else mention something? What else would I like to talk about?
Then our Kerr became Walgreens. I don't know what Kerr is. That must be a East Coast.
I don't know what that is either.
Rite Aid became Kerr. Kerr. Is
that when they got divorced? Remember we talked about how Walgreens and CVS.
Yeah, there's a CVS on one corner,
and there's always a Walgreens and then on the other.
And even in New Orleans, it was like that. But there's a Walgreens on one corner and a CVS on the other corner, and sometimes whenever it snows, the employees come out and they throw snowballs at each other.
That's bad.
Yeah, it is bad.
What do I want to talk about other than education?
Scott says he has many thoughts on education. So my suggestion would be is to have a panel with Scott Black talking about education.
Well, I'd like that.
All right, let's do that then. If he is agreeable to that, Scott Black, I think that you have been summoned to a panel with Ms. KCL.
I want to learn how to do this stuff. I am, what's the word I want to use?
Old school?
I know how to use technology, but only after I've been taught how to use it. So I've never actually done something like this where I can type comments. And I would like to learn how to do that so I don't have to be dependent upon you.
Well, that's why I try to get the laptop up and going. So
I can do it on my phone though, or on my tablet, right?
Yeah. You can go into on YouTube on your phone right now and go into this screen, and
you can show me another day when you're trying to interrupt them from whatever it is they're doing.
But we will see if Scott Black is going to take up your challenge. What is with Walgreens and CVS on every corner in every city in America? Yeah, that ain't no shit. One of these days, they should merge, just like Lowe's and Home Depot.
Well, we did find one corner where there is not a Walgreens, and that's the one on 40 Highway.
Yeah,
off of Lee Summit Road. Yeah. There's not, even though they're buildings. Remember, they're building something.
Yeah, and we thought, here it's gonna be a Walgreens. Oh, and then it's another car wash. How many new car washes are in town right now? We have Travis Kelce's car wash going on one corner, and then Patrick Mahomes hears about it, and he says, "Well, watch this shit, Travis." He's building a Walgreens on the other side of the street of Travis Kelce's car wash.
So when are we going to talk about education?
Yes, you and let's see if Scott will. Scott says, "Sure, I'll panel up, and you guys can talk about education."
I would love that.
All right, and then I will get with him on a time that's good for him.
Okay,
and time we're good for you.
So would it be okay when we're talking about education if we talk about the value of certain degrees or the lack of people going into trades, or how some people can't attain a decent education because of the environment where they live? Can we touch on, stuff that affects education too?
Well, some of these degrees they have out now is like $120,000 worth of a worthless piece of paper because they don't use the degrees that they get.
Well, the pandemic changed a lot.
Well,
a lot.
Gender something or another degree. Let me explain to you. If you have to figure out what's a boy and what's a girl, just have them drop their britches down about a foot. Well, you could tell the difference between boy and a girl that way, I would think. Why do you need a degree about it?
Some people have surgery to have?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the yahoos that want to wear a dress and they're a dude and they want to they have a gender or something or another degree to I don't know. I'd have to do some research, but and
So
maybe
you're
I'll
rambling.
maybe I'll do that tomorrow when whenever I'm hiding in my office. I can just like do some research because it's
Like
always
not work.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Well, it's been a joy talking to you guys. Seriously.
Yeah. So I will get with I will get with wait.
Scott.
I would like you to kick KCL out and take over his account. And
I would definitely be on time.
yeah. Uh, let's see. And Evelyn says I second Super's motion, and I think that passed.
I'm going to see if I can set something up so I can participate independently with you guys every now and then.
Gender studies is what that's called. Scott said, but gee, if you have to figure out what a boy or girl is, and you have to take 4 years of what a wiener looks like, and then what an innie looks like, then I don't know what to tell you.
What grade are you in? An innie?
Sixth.
An innie?
Sixth.
Really?
Well, you have an innie and an outie, kind of.
That's what I said. What grade are you in?
I'm in sixth grade. But I was reading about that where they had gender studies, and it's like $120,000 degree, and nobody's using it because there's. I mean, what job do you go to that says, yeah?
I've never heard of a gender studies degree. Now I've heard of an anthropological degree, right? Or some sort of medical degree. I've never heard of a gender whatever degree.
Yeah, well, Scott said I'm in the third grade, but
I don't know if it's even the third grade.
yeah, Scott says tab A goes into slot B. That's a smart way of saying an innie and an outie. But Angela says we almost solved the problems of the world, Miss KCL. Thanks. So next time it will be about education.
I'd like that.
And it'll be a Miss KCL and a Scott panel. And if anybody else is interested in
Oh, you know what? Another thing I would like to talk about, and someone will have to remind me because I just thought about it. But I'd like to talk about role models. What do we look for in a role model? Um, for example, people say Patrick Mahomes is a role model, but they wanted to talk about him like a dog when he was celebrating the Super Bowl, and he pretty much was tanked because of all the beer he drank.
Well, yeah,
so they were criticizing him for that. Or
he had a beverage or two.
Right. Or should our president be a role model? Which we know they've all had their issues.
Or should Robert Tilton or
I don't know who that is.
well, he's a televangelist that gets on TV.
You see, role models. How do we? I would love to be able to talk about. Do we care? Like one of the things I was talking about with this person, they wanted to attack the person I was supporting. And my response was, I don't care about this person's personal life. All I care about is what they do for my pocketbook and my neighborhood.
Yes, well, you're and I'll just say it. You're the pocketbook in the last administration was a heck of a lot more.
So can we put that on the list of things to talk about, like our role models or the people we look up to, or why we shouldn't look up to some people, or why celebrities or athletes should not be considered role models, or if they are, why are they? I would love to do something like that because I don't know, or like, what is a role model? Someone like in the example I gave, if I don't care what they do in their personal life and I only care what they do for my checking account, can that person still be a role model for me? To me?
Super says,
I think too
sounds
much.
like she is a Trump fan.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Biden either. And this will probably surprise you, but I wasn't a fan of Obama. Um, who was I a fan of?
Obama could he could talk though.
Well,
He's a good
the
speaker.
my issue with Obama is not that I think he's probably a wonderful person. I think he's one of those cool, got a cigarette in my hand,
No,
suave type.
he's a closet smoker, just like his daughters.
But whatever. I think he would be an if you were oh, this is another thing we can talk
Oh
about.
shit! Episode 4.
Well, look,
Got
okay, let's say you're 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 walking down the street to catch a bus and you're sitting on the bus stop waiting for your bus to come. Who do you want sitting next to you that you can talk to until your bus gets there? That would be awesome.
Harry Truman.
But then explain why. But anyway, I'm not really a fan of any politician. I'm more of a what can you do for me type of gal.
Oh, so you're a sociopath?
No, what you can I want to know what you can do for me. What can you do for me and what can you do for my family or what can you do to make my neighborhoods safer?
Well, that's the way it should be.
That's what
Instead of
right. And that's what I care about. So I'll be honest. So I made a comment about Trump in this chat thing, whatever it is.
Super wants to sit by a little old lady, not in a gang.
So what type of neighborhood is she catching the bus in? But I made a comment about Trump, and this person basically said I was a degenerate because I was supportive of someone who had raped all these women and lied and cheated and was a racist. And my response was, have you ever worked in corporate America?
Yeah, and well, that's another thing. All these white uh, white men getting promotions
Oh,
instead
there are
of.
other people too.
Well, I'm just saying in your instance, white men that are not as qualified as you are, and they get the promotion and you don't.
Well,
Well, that's happened so many times. It's pissed me off. And well,
no, you're wrong. So what he's referring to is I had an upper management position. And let's say there were three of us in the region that I was in, and the one person had like 500 things to oversee. One person had 700 things to oversee. I had 1,100, and the expectation for me was different from the white male I replaced. And it got to the point where they were nitpicking on me so much, and I had so much work that I asked to step down. Which, there's no shame in stepping down. If you don't want to deal with the bullshit, don't deal with the bullshit. And I got to the point where I just didn't want to deal with the bullshit anymore. So I'm doing this other position, and they hired in like two white men into the position I used to occupy. They didn't know shit. So one of them, who happened to be my boss, I had a very frank conversation with him, and I said, "Look, I am not going to teach you how to do your job because that's what they do in corporate America. I'm sure some of you you've experienced this. They put inexperienced people in a job so that the experienced people around them can train them." And I just told him up front, "I'm not going to train you. I know this job better than you do. I know more than this than you do. I am not going to be put in a position to train you." And he actually admitted it. He says, "I get it. I understand." And that's when I transferred out of that department because I was like, I'm going to be damned if I'm going to sit here and treat someone and train someone when they made it impossible for me to do the job. Because if you got 500 things to review and 700 things to review, and I have 1,100, okay, I'm finished. I'm finished ranting. But that's what he's talking about.
Yes, I guess that's what I was talking about.
Yes, that's what you're talking.
Let's see what the smart ass thing super says this time. KCL, you take a lot of L's, but you get a giant ass W with your woman.
What?
I take a lot of losses, but he thinks you're pretty good, I guess. I take a lot of L's, take a lot of losses, but I get a big win.
Oh, when it comes to me,
yeah,
people tell him that all the time.
yeah. I have absolutely no idea how I snatched up a classic.
But he has really good entertainment value. I think people are going to start like hiring us out for parties because for some reason when we go places,
well, last night we went
and we're together, people actually are entertained, and we're just being ourselves.
Yeah, we went out to a place last night, and with a couple that we met at whenever we
volunteered for the election.
Yeah, we worked the election polls, and this is we're trying to get together once a month just to go out to eat and shoot the shit.
Because we had a great time working the polls with them.
Yeah, and we got there at 5 o'clock, and we left a little after 9, and so.
And Mr. KCL was definitely the entertainment and didn't keep his mouth shut at all.
Hey, I got a Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl glass.
Yeah, but they put it on the bill.
Yeah, but they said they don't normally do that, so
it was still paid for. It doesn't matter.
Well, it was only $5 hairs, and it was a pretty cool cup. And it's glass, and it says Super Bowl champions.
I need to go write down those other topics. So when we finish talking about education, I want to talk about the other ones.
All right, people, so episode 2 is education.
Look at me. Look, you people.
Yeah. What do you mean, you people?
I know.
Because I can actually say now that I am. What am I?
Not.
Well, we did what's it called?
Okay, so what do you guys, when someone says hunter-gatherer, what do you think of?
Wait a minute.
Hunter-gatherer.
No, what's the first word of that hunter-gatherer thing?
I don't know. I thought it was just hunter-gatherer.
African.
Oh, he found out somewhere in his DNA it says African hunter-gatherer. So now he thinks he's black, and he is definitely not black.
Hey, man.
Stop it. That's stereotypical. No, I don't like that.
Well, I understand it, but you were saying I was just trying to be funny.
That wasn't funny.
Okay, well, I apologize.
Was that funny, anybody?
No, nobody thought that shit was funny.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to walk away from you. And I just need to know when it's Scott, right?
Yeah.
It's going to have his education thing. I'm excited.
All right, you're excited. Well, I will get with him, and we will find out when you guys are available, and it's a date.
Bye, everyone.
Well, I got to talk shit a little bit because I watched I'm going to talk a little drama real quick because I watched a video earlier that someone sent me. Thank you, Angela, or thank you, somebody. And it was Lou talking about some kind of swishy dude, and he's coming around and he's going to kill everybody. And Phil, you're going to be gone, and Spook's going to be gone, and Samra is going to be gone, and I'm going to be gone. Well, I would say if he shows up at my house, he's going to end up in a bag looking like Swiss cheese. But that's just my idea on that. Is the ring doorbell in there?
Yeah, it's going off because of me.
All right, well, I'll go hang it up. Was anybody else? Did anybody else watch that Lou video? Hello, Kimberly. Long time no see. I need to look up who Rachel or something or other is.
You didn't like it?
But anywho, some swishy dude's gonna come by and kill us all. So, get your bow and arrows ready or your AK whatever's and turn them into Swiss cheese. Peppy, come here. Peppy, come here. Is that why she hightailed it in there? All right then. Well, I will. And Lou, if you're listening, I emailed you. Stop being a little boy, and email me back, and let's have a chat. Dare you? Chicken chat. All right. So next episode, I guess, is education. It will be a KCL and a Miss KCL and a Scott talking about education, and we'll figure out a time and date and all that good stuff. And I will talk to you guys later. It's definitely bedtime for us old farts. A white woman convinced the world she was black and got found out. I will look into that. But in my Me 23 or whatever it's called, I had some African hunter and gatherer DNA, and they say if you just have a drop of African blood, then you could call yourself black. So I guess I can do that. But all right, well that's episode 5. So I guess somebody else can do a live now and talk about some shit and smack and drama and stuff. Episode 2, we'll let you know. Everybody have a good night. Even you, Scott Black. Good evening. Say good evening, dear.
That's dinner, not brownies
Oh,
and
those
Oreo
brownies
cookies.
are good, though. Say good night, dear.
Good night, dear.